gentlemen, our program will begin in 5 minutes. If you have not already done so, please turn your video camera off and keep your microphones muted. For optimal viewing, select gallery view and hide non-video participants. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our program will begin in 5 minutes. If you have not already done so, please turn your video camera off and keep your microphones muted. For optimal viewing, select gallery view and hide non-video participants. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, our program will begin in 5 minutes. If you have not already Okay, here we go. Good morning. I am Captain Carlos Rocha on the 4th Air Force staff, and I will be your Master of Ceremonies for today's celebration. On behalf of our host, Brigadier General Jeffrey T. Pennington, Commander, 4th Air Force, and Chief Master Sergeant Cynthia Villa, Command Chief, 4th Air Force, it is our pleasure to welcome you to the 21st Annual Raincross Trophy Awards celebration. We are here today to continue a long-standing tradition, the recognition of excellence. But before we begin, please ensure your cameras are off and mics muted. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now play the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our host for today's event, Brigadier General Jeffrey T. Pennington, Commander, 4th Air Force, and Chief Master Sergeant Cynthia Villa, Command Chief, 4th Air Force. Before we move into opening comments, we have a quick bio for each of our hosts. Chief Master Sergeant Cynthia Villa entered the Air Force in 1993 and has distinguished herself in a variety of challenging assignments since that time. She has deployed 3 times and served as Squadron First Sergeant and Wing Command Chief. She is currently serving as the 4th Air Force Command Chief. When she is not serving our nation in uniform, she is serving in her civilian capacity as an engineering asset operations manager for a major aerospace corporation in California that develops and supplies various classified weapon systems and platforms for the Department of Defense. Brigadier General Pennington entered the Air Force in 1988 as the graduate of the Reserve Officer Training Corps program at Kansas State University, Manhattan, Kansas. He is a command pilot with over 5,600 hours in air refueling and airlift aircraft, and he has served in a variety of command positions at the squadron, group, wing, and at Headquarters Air Force Reserve Command. As the commander of 4th Air Force, he leads 18 flying wings and 1 regional support group encompassing 300 units and over 32,000 personnel, all executing the Air Force Reserve's long-range airlift and air refueling missions around the world. Our host will share some opening comments.
Hello, team. Well, it is awesome to spend some time with you virtually this morning and carry on a long tradition of honoring outstanding performance in 4th Air Force through the Raincross Trophy Award Recognition Program. So before I get too far, I want to do a quick shout out to my wife, Lisa, who I think is joining us online. Lisa, are you there this morning?
Hi, everybody. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I just want to say hello and welcome and thank, of course, the honorary commanders for showing up, and across the command. I know honorary commanders really stepped up in the last year or so, and especially in Riverside. They just really stepped up. I want to thank them for being here and really thank them for their support. I know, as Jeff's going to say, it's an annual tradition, the Raincross, and I can just remember him being so excited to even compete or be nominated, let alone when they took home the trophy every once in a while. So that's really exciting. Okay. You said it, not me. But you know, I always say our reserve are made up of just an extraordinary group of volunteers and that volunteered to serve. And over the last year in these extraordinary times, it required an incredible diligence to maintain standards, let alone a standard of excellence. So congratulations to all of you who are nominated and for just continuing to serve in the last year. The leadership of this team is super excited to recognize the award winners, and just congratulations to all of you.
All right, thank you, Lisa. And hey, a great reminder to always thank your families for supporting you out there. So everybody who's attending today, as my wife mentioned, various community leaders, support organizations around the country who partner with your installations and your wings in your area. The great leadership there, whether you're a civilian, a contractor, full-time, part-time, it takes all of us working together collectively to defend America. I'm really proud to serve with all of you. And it's a joy and a privilege to serve here at the headquarters with my number one wingman here on the staff, Chief Villa. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Thank you, sir. Sir, our teammates have been anxiously waiting for this day. We kept getting asked, is this going to happen? Is this going to happen? Here it is. We're finally on game day here. And what a great opportunity to spend and have fellowship with our community leaders, Mr. Jamil Dada, Miss Cindy Roth, joining us virtually. Great times. Anytime that we're going to have the opportunity to recognize teammates, it's a great day, sir. So I'm excited and I'm ready to get this virtual party started.
All right, let's roll on. Carlos, back to you.
Roger that, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we'd like to take this opportunity to recognize two very special guests from the community of Riverside, California. Mrs. Cindy Roth, the president and CEO of the Greater Riverside Chambers of Commerce. And Mr. Jamil Dada, chairman of the Riverside Military Affairs Council. We would also like to thank our civilian community, the Riverside Military Affairs Council members, civic leaders, and the March Air Reserve Base honorary commanders. Welcome, and thank you all for your support and attendance in this recognition ceremony. It is now my privilege to welcome the 4th Air Force units. Please turn on your cameras when your unit is called. Leave your cameras on until all the units have been called. The 315th Airlift Wing at Joint Base Charleston, South Carolina. The 349th Air Mobility Wing at Travis Air Force Base, California. The 433rd Airlift Wing at Joint Base San Antonio, Texas. The 434th Air Refueling Wing at Grissom Air Reserve Base, Indiana. The 439th Airlift Wing at Westover Air Reserve Base, Massachusetts.
Whoop, whoop. Chief Cox.
The 445th Airlift Wing at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Ohio. The 446th Airlift Wing at Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. The 452nd Air Mobility Wing at March Air Reserve Base, California. The 459th Air Refueling Wing at Joint Base Andrews, Maryland. The 507th Air Refueling Wing at Joint Base Andrews, Tinker Air Force Base, Oklahoma. The 512th Airlift Wing at Dover Air Force Base, Delaware. The 514th Air Mobility Wing at Joint Base McGuire-Dix, Lakehurst, New Jersey. The 624th Regional Support Group at Joint Base Pearl Harbor, Hickam, Hawaii. The 911th Airlift Wing at Pittsburgh Air Reserve Station, Pennsylvania. the 914th Air Refueling Wing at Niagara Falls Air Reserve Station, New York, the 916th Air Refueling Wing at Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina, the 927th Air Refueling Wing at MacDill Air Force Base, Florida, the 931st Air Refueling Wing at McConnell Air Force Base, Kansas, and the 940th Air Refueling Wing at Beale Air Force Base, California.
Way to go, teammates.
Welcome. You may turn off your cameras now. Award winners, please turn on your cameras when your unit is called. Chief Master Sergeant Cynthia Villa, Command Chief, 4th Air Force, will now present the 2020 recipient of the Commander's Public Service Award.
Thank you, Captain Rocha. The 2020 Commander's Public Service recipient tirelessly worked with wing leadership to advocate with local, state, and federal governments on behalf of the 3,000 military, civilian, and contractors, and the thousands of civic leaders, business owners, families, and community partners that economically depend on the county's largest employer. He was contributed an average of 40 volunteer hours every week to the wing and their tenant units for over 25 years. This individual has acted as a liaison between all levels of government and wing leadership. He arranges annual trips to the Capitol Hill region to meet with U.S. senators and representatives, and to the Pentagon to meet with senior U.S. Air Force leaders. He's helped arrange several civic leader tours and has partnered with several community sponsors to raise over $700,000 in support of the air show, which in 2018 broke attendance records, and in 2015 won the Dick Schramm Memorial Community Relations Award, the first and only Air Force Reserve Command wing to earn that honor. The recipient also helped advocate for a new C-130 simulator building, several facility upgrades, and a new physical fitness center, which is expected to be completed the summer of 2021. His total efforts resulted in the wing's procurement of over $400 million towards new facilities and redesigns. His most recent project was to advocate for the conversion of C-130s to KC-135s in 2017, which reorganized the wing to the 4th Air Force. The recipient's efforts encouraged a civic leader tour in 2019 to visit 4th Air Force headquarters at March Air Reserve Base, California, to help the county's most senior civic leaders learn and appreciate our new mission. In addition to his service to the wing, he also leads a community outreach program which helps local veterans in need with transitional housing and food. His extraordinary selfless service is truly paramount to the wing's continued mission success. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2020 Commander's Public Service Award recipient is Mr. John A. Cooper, Sr., nominated by the 914th Air Refueling Wing. Mr. Cooper, please turn on your camera.
Congratulations to the 4th Air Force Commander's Public Service Award winner, Mr. John A. Cooper, Sr. Colonel Ray Kozak, Director of Staff, 4th Air Force, will now present the 2020 Medical Excellence Award.
Thank you, Captain Rocha, and hello to everyone throughout 4th Air Force. It's my privilege to present the Medical Excellence Award for 2020, a year when our medical personnel were on the front page and on the front lines due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In fact, I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate and thank not just our award winners, but all of our units and personnel that responded so quickly and served so effectively in the mobilization of forces supporting COVID response efforts. In preparing for today, I asked the Headquarters Air Force Reserve Command Surgeon General's Office to look back at the 4th Air Force contribution during that time, and they reported that collectively from across 14 bases, 113 dedicated reservists answered the call to care for their fellow citizens. With deepest appreciation, America says thank you to these dedicated citizen airmen medics. From among these units, one will take home the 4th Air Force Medical Excellence Award. As the inscription on its base indicates, the trophy is to recognize a unit for medical excellence in support of Air Force Reserve Command, and 4th Air Force missions. Of course, COVID was probably the biggest, but not the only story of 2020. Other aspects of the mission had to get done, like the efforts of this unit to keep the routine mission moving forward and processing 427 cases through the Deployment Availability Working Group, and orchestrating the transition to electronic health records for over 3,500 personnel, and keeping the drug demand reduction program on pace, not just for their wing, but as subject matter experts on behalf of the entire Major Command. But certainly the pandemic did have a major impact on their work, and the award winners applied innovation to the challenges presented by the pandemic. Implementing remote training through the establishment of more than 250 CVR and Zoom accounts to log more than 320 hours of training. Conducting remote professional development training for 49 members in 12 different Air Force specialty codes. And completing remote physical health assessments for wing members to keep the wing mission ready. Of particular note, a member of the group helped to mitigate a shortage of COVID testing supplies on their base, helping develop 21,000 COVID batch kits for the base and alleviating delays in training for more than 30,000 personnel. And as I mentioned, they contributed to the urgent COVID response with the mobilization of 16 airmen in less than 72 hours for deployment to the New York City area, where they joined the Joint Task Force supporting 10 civilian hospitals. These accomplishments make the 433rd Medical Group under the command of Colonel Michael C. Bryce the highly deserving winners of the Medical Excellence Award. Congratulations, and please turn on your camera for a picture. Thank you, and congratulations to the 433rd.
Congratulations to the 2020 recipient of the Medical Excellence Award, the 433rd Medical Group, Joint Base San Antonio, Texas. Colonel Ike Meese, Director of Logistics, Engineering, and Force Protection, 4th Air Force, will now present the 2020 Technical Sergeant Anthony C. Campbell, Jr. Trophy for Mission Support Group Excellence and the Chief Master Sergeant James K. Klaus Trophy for Maintenance Excellence.
Thank you, Captain Rocha. We had many packages that came in for both the Campbell and Klaus, and it was a very tough competition for both, but the board was able to narrow it down to one for each. And the first one we're going to discuss is the Anthony C. Campbell Jr. Award. All mission support units provide vital support to the operational mission, often under exceptionally adverse conditions. The Technical Sergeant Anthony C. Campbell Jr. Award for Mission Support Group Excellence recognizes the mission support group that stood out among the rest through enhanced mission support readiness, improved mission support efficiency, and superior performance in all mission support areas. The competition was fierce, but the winner of the 2020 Technical Sergeant Anthony C. Campbell Jr. Award stood out among the rest. This mission support group's commitment to developing combat-ready airmen was showcased during a total force exercise focused on rapid mobility, whereby motivated airmen set up a bare base and orchestrated a successful deployment of 135 passengers and 187 short tons of cargo across 3 wings. Additionally, the unmatched capability of aerial port personnel during a joint exercise synergized efforts with joint service partners to provide rapid airlift to 28 passengers and 30 short tons of cargo to prepare for natural disaster emergency response while teaming with the Army, Navy, Federal Bureau of the Federal Bureau of Investigations. Furthermore, logistics planners were crucial in executing 3 missions, 67 separate installations, which enabled the movement of 415 combat-ready personnel to meet combatant commander requirements. On the innovative front, this group meticulously managed a $9 million hydrant project, which not only added 9,000 feet of pipe to the hot cargo pad, it also cut fuel time by 75% and drove a 92% hydrant utilization rate while saving 1,400 man hours. Most notably, this mission support group demonstrated exceptional mission execution by rapidly deploying 85 medical professionals to Air Force North Task Force Southeast to provide life-saving support to Federal Emergency Management Agency and Health and Human Services operations across 10 care facilities. These highlights are only a glimpse of the great things that this mission support group accomplished in 2020. The winner of the Technical Sergeant Anthony C. Campbell Jr. Award for Mission Support Group Excellence for 2020 is the 315th Mission Support Group, Joint Base Charleston. Congratulations, Bobby D. and team. And if you could turn on your cameras, we will capture a photo. All aircraft maintenance units provide vital support to the operational mission, often under exceptionally adverse conditions. The Chief Master Sergeant James K. Klaus Trophy for Maintenance Excellence recognizes the aircraft maintenance unit that stood out among the rest through enhanced maintenance readiness, improved maintenance efficiency, and superior performance in all maintenance areas. The 2020 winner of the Chief Master Sergeant James K. Klaus Trophy flawlessly executed the mission, enabling 857 sorties, 3,800 flying hours, and delivering 8.6 million pounds of fuel to 732 joint and coalition receivers. Their steadfast support of mobility operations was crucial in constructing 2 air bridges for 6 combatant commanders and supporting 29 coalition partners, a feat cementing their leadership in global reach efforts. This group was highly innovative in developing a specialized ramp to supplement use of the transportation isolation system. This ingenious initiative significantly reduced the risk of exposure to COVID-19 for medical personnel, aircrew, passengers, and became a benchmark for United States Air Force's Europe flying units. The group focused on professionalism by establishing a training facility dedicated to educating and mentoring technicians on advanced maintenance theory and resulted in 50 technicians receiving airframe and power plant certifications. Most incredibly, the group's quick thinking was instrumental in the safe and rapid response to dangerous wildfires. The team's oversight of all maintenance, command, and control operations led to the successful evacuation of 29 aircraft, thus safeguarding $2.9 billion in Air Force assets in less than 6 hours after emergency notification. These highlights are only a glimpse of the great things that this maintenance group accomplished in 2020. The winner of the Chief Master Sergeant James K. Klaus Trophy for Maintenance Excellence for 2020 is the 349th Maintenance Group, Travis Air Force Base, California. Congratulations, Colonel Cook. Team. And if you could turn on your cameras, we will capture a photo.
Oh, Jimmy Burmeister.
Congratulations, award winners of the Campbell and Klaus Trophies, 315th Mission Support Group, Joint Base, Charleston, South Carolina, and the 349th Maintenance Group, Travis Air Force Base, California. Next, Colonel Miles Heaslip, Director of Air and Space Operations, 4th Air Force, will present the 2020 Air Crew Excellence Award.
Good morning. This year's Raincross Air Crew Excellence Award winners demonstrated superior judgment, crew resource management, and general emergency procedural knowledge during multiple in-flight emergencies throughout their mission. For our winning crew, the fun began upon touchdown at Al Udeid Air Base, Qatar. The crew heard a loud noise upon landing, which turned out to be an air conditioning duct blowing out. After careful coordination between the flight engineers and minor repairs by the flying crew chiefs, the mission was able to continue. Approximately 2/3 of the way into the next flight, the cabin pressure controller and altitude began steadily rising. After troubleshooting to regain control of the cabin altitude, the crew agreed to descend in order to normalize the pressure. Unable to contact controlling agencies via radio and CPDLC, the crew began broadcasting their intentions in the blind while descending to maintain a cabin altitude below 10,000 feet. In addition to cabin pressure issues, the aircraft temperature control valve became inoperative. The flying crew chiefs worked with the scanner and engineer to fix the issue, but were unsuccessful. The temperature in both the flight deck and troop compartment reached 90 degrees and remained there for several hours until arriving in Diego Garcia. The loadmasters worked tirelessly using the water from the water cooler and then melting the ice in the water coolers to ensure the 51 duty passengers had enough water to endure the heat without serious injury. The following day, after reviewing the maintenance status of the aircraft, the pilots and engineers determined the aircraft could continue to fly the mission at a lower than originally planned altitude. They reviewed emergency procedures and came up with several plans of action. The flight departed normally, and the aircraft was able to maintain a cabin pressure altitude of 8,500 feet at flight level 240 as anticipated. 2 hours into the flight, unfortunately, the cabin altitude again began to rise to 9,500 feet. In addition to once again being uncontrolled and broadcasting in the blind, the crew was forced to maneuver around several developing storm clouds on their way back to Diego Garcia. The flying crew chief suggested that once on the ground, they could switch the turbine from the blown air conditioning pact to the operating pact in an attempt to get enough airflow to support pressurization needed for takeoff the next day. This averted the need to send a maintenance team and allowed the crew to see the mission through to completion. Congratulations to the crew of Reach 335 under the command of Major Jared L. Tempest from the 709th Airlift Squadron, 512th Operations Group, 512th Airlift Wing, Dover Air Force Base. Please turn your camera on for a picture. Once again, congratulations.
Congratulations to the 2020 Aircrew Excellence Award recipient, the aircrew from the 709th Airlift Squadron and the 512th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, Dover Air Force Base, Delaware. Now for the presentation of the 2020 Raincross Trophy. Over 100 years ago, a small group of distinguished Riverside citizens joined with the Riverside Chambers of Commerce to acquire a parcel of land in an area known as the Alessandro Plain on the outskirts of the city. They had a vision that there would one day be a military airfield on that site, a vision that was realized in February 1918, over 100 years ago, with the creation of what would become March Field. In December 1940, a numbered Air Force was activated at March Field and headquartered in downtown Riverside at the Old Virginia building across from the Mission Inn. This unit was designated Headquarters 4th Air Force. Although 4th Air Force moved to other locations, Riverside residents never forgot the Fighting Fourth. It was redesignated on September 24th, 1976, and in April 1998, returned to its original home, now March Air Reserve Base. Continuing with the tradition of honoring the most outstanding military unit, the Greater Riverside Chambers of Commerce elected to commemorate the return home of 4th Air Force by creating the Raincross Trophy to honor the best of the best in 4th Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brigadier General Jeffrey T. Pennington to share a few remarks and present the 2020 Raincross Trophy.
Hey, thanks, team. Thank you, Carlos. Hey, team, wonderful opportunity again to be with you to give out this highly coveted award. Before we get to that, I do want to extend a thanks to the 4th Air Force staff, help from the 452nd, and all your local staffs out there that do all the back-end work and the technology platforms and the script writing and the awards and the writing of the packages, as well as the staff here evaluating them. It takes a total team effort to pull all that stuff together and recognize the heroes over this past year. So let's give a big round of applause to all the support folks that put it all together. Thank you. And once again, hey team, to all the work that you do every day, it's all just amazing. To get the packages up here, I will tell you, we scrutinized and labor over every word, every line, and the team worked very, very hard to come up with a recognition for this year's winners. So Carlos, before I get to the announcement, do we have anybody else that's going to come up and speak? And we're going to bring Mr. Dada up to say just a couple words. A local and national hero who's just done tremendous work for over 33 years here in the local area, supporting all of us here at March and around the country as a representative on the AMC Honorary Commander Program as well. So
thank you, sir.
Mr. Dada, over to you, sir, for a few words.
Thank you. I want to start by thanking General Pennington and Chief Villa that I've had the pleasure of being your inaugural 4th Air Force Civic Leader of the Year for the last year, and it has been my pleasure. Thank you for that opportunity. You heard about the history of the Greater Riverside Chambers of Commerce and the Riverside region. This is a perpetual award that stays here in the 4th Air Force Commander's office. And every year we add the name, it's etched in here. And this year, the 21st name is going to go up. But this is the trophy that the winner actually gets to take with them. And by the way, this is 25 pounds. So I am going to set it. You got to set it down there. All right. I'll just set it over here.
Very good.
But I've had some practice carrying my grandkids, but that's a beautiful trophy. I want to also, again, remind everybody that the Greater Riverside Chambers of Commerce has been sponsoring this event since 1998. And unfortunately, today we're doing this virtually because I say that because hopefully the next one we can do in person, because there are a few hundred civic leaders that usually attend this in person. So we're hoping to do that next time. I want to thank all the units of 4th Air Force and all the airmen because of their tireless, selfless dedication and work that they do for our great nation when it comes to homeland security and national defense. And we know how much your airmen have to juggle because they're citizen airmen, and they also they have obligations for their employers. So we want to thank them. And if that's not enough, whether you also do take care of natural disasters. So I think some of you may know that whether it's a hurricane or an earthquake or a flood or a tsunami, anywhere around the globe, frequently it's 4th Air Force Airmen that are the first responders anywhere. So thank you so much. And your service deserves our service. It is a pleasure to be here. And God bless all of you, and God bless America. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jamil. All right, Chief Villa, I'd like to have you come up and say a few words as well, please.
Sir, just thank you for the opportunity. As Mr. Dada said, and as you mentioned, sir, it's a team. It's a team effort in order for us to answer our nation's call and bring it strong each and every time. It's so humbling to be able to serve in this capacity and serve our teammates, and just excited for you to announce who this year's the 2020 winner is, sir.
Yeah, well, fantastic. Well, I'm sure that the anticipation and excitement has been building, so let's get right to it. The team up here, our senior leadership staff, looked at all the packages. They stacked, racked, scored, debated, pontificated, and perused, and dug into those organizations which submitted the very best packages. In there, we looked at mission accomplishment, sustainability of readiness throughout this past year's challenges, whether that be the pandemic, natural disasters, deployments, you name it. Our airmen faced a lot of challenges and a lot of adversity. But the team consistently found one of those packages bubbling to the top. And as Chief E and I sat down and compared our notes, it became readily apparent that we both agreed that there was one unit that was going to get this award. And I just want to say congratulations to the 940th Air Refueling Wing, Beale Air Force Base, California, this year's recipient of the 2020 Raincross Awards.
Awesome, sir. Thank you so
Now, I
much.
hope you and your team are dialed in. There he is, giving him the big thumbs up in the left-hand corner. And we snap a picture of them. Carlos, he's got his camera on. Is that in work? Yes, sir. Fantastic. All right, there he is. Hey, brother, just want to say how much Chief V and I are proud of you and all the airmen, citizen airmen, and families of Beale overcoming adversity over this past year. This unit was one of the hardest hit with the pandemic, with deployers. Many deployers stuck out for months and months past their scheduled return date. Significant impact to them personally, to their families, to the mission, but they did it with a smile on their face. They kept plowing on. They are taking on a new mission in conversion with the KC-135 and learning to stand up their nuclear readiness and nuclear response teams. And they had event after event from fires and smoke impact that, but yet they persevered on. So I just want to say once again with Chief Villa, congratulations to all the members of the 940th Air Refueling Wing on being recognized as this year's 4th Air Force Raincross Trophy recipient in conjunction with a local community leader. So congratulations, Colonel Downs, to you and your team one more time. Fantastic. So Carlos, back over to you to wrap it up this morning.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations to the men and women of the 2020 Raincross Trophy. Thank you all for joining us in this important event, and a special shout out to the 452nd Public Affairs Office and the amazing 4th Air Force staff for making this production possible. This concludes the 21st Annual Raincross Awards Ceremony. Thank you for joining us. Go forth and conquer.